Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I've got something a little bit different. Obviously there's a global pandemic going on right now, so at the start of the year I made a prediction on where I thought each team was going to finish in the Premier League table, and it could be likely that the season might be voided. No one really knows what's going to happen right now, so I thought it'd be interesting if the season was voided at this moment. We'd look back and see where I predicted each team and see how on or off I actually was. Let's start off with the bottom three. Obviously 20th place, I did actually predict Sheffield United to go bottom, and let's not lie, everyone thought Sheffield United were going to go down this year, but I was way off. They're the biggest overachievers of this whole year, to be honest, most likely. Obviously 13th place higher than where I actually thought they were going to finish. They're in 7th place at the moment. Chris Wilder has done a fantastic job. Credit to all them players and Chris Wilder. Their system has just worked. Not many people thought it'd work as it did in the Championship to the Premier League, but it has. So fair play to them. They're playing impressive and entertaining football. There's not much else to say. They've done all of them, everyone at the club has done fantastic with that team. Then in 19th place I predicted Norwich. This was due to their financial stability, because obviously they didn't have as much money and they didn't spend as much as a lot of the other clubs. And I was only one place off. They're currently sitting in 20th. They're going to go down, to be totally honest, so I'd take only one place off. But in hindsight, if I knew how well Sheffield United were going to play, I would have put Norwich in 20th. But you live and you learn. And then to finish off the bottom three, I put Newcastle United. This was due to Mike Ashley being a knob, basically, because he don't pump any money into it. Currently, there is talks of them having a takeover with some Saudis, which, to be fair, I don't really know. It could be another video for another day of talk about it, but it would help the club. Steve Bruce has done a decent job this year, but I think next season they're going to need a more attacking manager, especially if they're going to get this takeover with a lot of money pumped through. But you could also see it maybe next season they don't make as many signings and stuff, or maybe if they do, it's just big signings. But Steve Bruce has still done well. They are currently sitting in 13th place, so I was, how many places is that? 5 places off. So, you know, it wasn't a bad prediction. I don't think many people thought Newcastle were going to do too well, or as well as they are. But I think Newcastle have got away with it due to other teams performing poorly this year. Alright, let's move on to mid-table now. Now he's going to be 17th to 11th place. Obviously, let's start with 17th place. I had Brighton predicted here. And in my original video, I thought Graham Potter weren't going to be able to change the system as well as he has. He has done a decent job this year. And realistically, I thought he was going to struggle to keep him up this year. But they're sitting up at 15th place, so I was only 2 spots off. So they ain't too bad. I don't know if they'll be able to do as well as they are next year, or next season, or if the season continues, because really they haven't performed great. They're just lucky there has been teams obviously worse than them this year, and they started off very, very well, but they have slipped up quite a few times. In 16th place I put Aston Villa, and they are currently 19th, which is really disappointing for them. Obviously I was 3 places off, but they've done a Fulham of what Fulham done the season before, was spend a load of money. Realistically, teams who come straight up need to stop spending hundreds of millions on just a whole new team. You got to trust the boys who got you to that spot in the first place, and I don't think enough teams are doing that now. Like, you look at Norwich, they couldn't really spend as much, but then you got Sheffield United who have trusted most of the boys. They brought some key players in, but maybe Villa should have done that instead of changing a whole 11. They've literally, their team's like unrecognisable from the Championship. So it happened to Fulham. Like I said, teams need to probably stop doing this now. Next up, we got the club I support, Crystal Palace. I predicted them to be 15th place. They are currently sitting in 11th, which is obviously 4 places higher. Don't get me wrong, I'll take it. I'll take being wrong on this one. If I was going to be wrong on any, this would be the one. I feel like Hodgson's done a very good job, because the ball don't seem to have trusted him enough with spending money. Like, we got 50 million for Wan-Bissaka and we ain't even replaced him. Joel Ward ain't been bad, but and Martin Kelly as well, but we needed a new right back. But 11th place is very, very impressive, really. Zaha hasn't had the most impressive year. Jordan Ayew has been our main man this year, really. But 11th place, like I said, I'll be wrong on this one. We finally got one right. We got 14th place right, which I predicted Southampton, and they are currently sitting in 14th place. Don't get me wrong, they have done fantastic to turn around that 9-0 defeat they got from Leicester City earlier on in the year. That was appalling, that performance, from Southampton's point of view. But to turn it around, they actually went on and beat Leicester the second time they played them 2-1. So Ralph has done a very good job with what he's done with his Southampton side. He's just kept the belief in them, and they've all believed that they can stay up. They haven't been the best, don't get me wrong, but they could have been a lot worse considering earlier on this season they were doing appalling. In 13th place now, I predicted Burnley to finish here, and they're doing very well. Sean Dyche is doing a very good job because they are currently sitting in 10th place, so I'm 3 places off with them. Now, they don't play the most attractive football, don't get me wrong, but they are comfortably a Premier League team now. They do what they need to do to win. They're not trying to exceed too much, and they know they're going to get mid-table every year now. So fair play to Steve. Why do I keep calling him Steve? Sean Dyche. He's done a good job with this Burnley side over the many years he's been there, and I can't see him going down anytime soon. Now we've got a big underachiever of this season. I predicted Watford to finish 12th place, and they are currently 17th place. Since Nigel Pearson's come in though, they have turned it around quite significantly, with them actually sitting rock bottom at one point, but Pearson, to get them just out of the relegation zone, it's quite impressive. If you told them they were going to finish 17th place, if you looked at them first few games, they'd probably take that. But a team of Watford's calibre should be doing better than 17th without a doubt. Now, from a big underachiever to the biggest without a doubt this year, I believe, or one of, is Bournemouth. Eddie Howe's Bournemouth. Now, I predicted them to just miss out on the top 10 with 11th place, and they're currently 18 places. So 18th place, sorry. So it's 7 places off. I'm terrible at maths, by the way. But they're 7 places off. They should be doing better than that. They've spent a lot of money on some certain players like Solanke, Ake and stuff like that. Yeah, but they've got players like Solanke they spent 15 to 20 million on. It's way too much money on a player. They're not even really playing. Players on Jordan Ibe and stuff like that. They needed to learn their level, and I think they spent a lot of money when they should be happy with some of the players they had as such. But to be in 18th place, that's not very, very good from Eddie Howe's Bournemouth at all. Now let's move on to the top half of the table, which is going to be 10th to 7th place. First up, we've got 10th place, which I thought was going to be Wolves. Now, they're doing very well this season. They're currently sitting in 6th, so obviously that's 4 places higher than what I predicted them to be. And my reasoning for putting them 10th was because of the Europa League. I thought they were going to struggle due to... I just thought they'd find it quite difficult because it's an extra competition. They hadn't really done that. And I think they probably would have settled for a top half finish again, considering they only got promoted the year before, like this one. But for them to be 6th place, they've been excellent. Like Nuno Santo, he has done an excellent job with this Wolves side. I know everyone's going to say it's a lot of Portuguese and a lot of money they spent in the Championship, but it's still a great side. You've got players like Jota, even Patricio in goal, Jimenez, Den Donker's a decent player. They've got a solid squad from the goalkeeper to the attackers, and even on their bench they have strength and depth. To be in 6th place, you can't hate it, you got to rate it. Now on to 9th place. I predicted West Ham to sit here. Now looking back at this season, 9th is completely optimistic. I don't think anyone thought or can tell that they are not this level anymore. Maybe they need to regroup and stop trying to get these big players like your Felipe Anderson, who they don't perform underneath certain managers what they're getting in system. Like currently they've got David Moyes, because West Ham are currently in 16th, so I'm 7 positions off. And to be in 16th with the squad they have, with the big money they've signed for and the wages they're probably on, you've got players like Declan Rice, who's a good player, don't get me wrong, but they brought through the youth system, and with a good youth system they should be definitely doing better than the 16th. They're battling for relegation, but then they're probably not at the level for this top half finish, like battling for Europa League anymore. They had that one season with Payet, and they need another player like Payet who can just take the team on his back and run with it. I know they got Lanzini, who's got very big injury worries, but If Lanzini was fit, maybe he could be that Payet, but they just need someone to take the team on their back and run with it. And they haven't really got that at the moment. On to 8th place now, and I had the Foxes, Leicester City. Now, they're doing very, very well this year, sitting in 3rd place, so I'm 5 positions off. And I don't think anyone would have predicted them to be top 4. But Brendan Rodgers has done excellent with this team. Vardy, top goal scorer. He's done very well with this, like with how many he's scoring. He's on 20, I think, maybe, round about that. And you got Tielemans, who's an excellent player. They got on a permanent this year. Even players like the centre back, I don't know how to say his name, sorry, Scholskik or whatever his name is. You know which one, the Turkish fella, looked like Lord Farquaad. He's been excellent this year. Kasper Schmeichel, a leader at the back. And they like I said, Brendan Rodgers has just done well. He knows what to expect from the players, and they are delivering for him. You've got players like James Maddison, who's had an excellent year, who is in a good squad. So you've got someone like Jack Grealish and Villa, whose team around him ain't good enough for his standard. So that's why Maddison seems to be doing so much better than Grealish, if you understand what I mean. And I think if you're looking at how the season's going, they've kind of tailed off a little bit before this whole pandemic happened. So you've got to really think they will take a top 4 finish, but they could probably be quite satisfied with maybe even 5th. Now we've got 7th place, which is, I called the Everton of Walton. I'd put Everton there. This was just missing out on Europa League, and they're not very good anymore. They're currently sitting 12th. They have a decent squad, which I don't understand why they're not doing what they used to do when David Moyes was there and stuff like that. You've got Calvert-Lewin, who's been banging them in quite a lot this year. But to sit 12th, I think they're quite far off of the top 7 like nowadays. They did spend a lot of money that one season when Rooney come back, which probably didn't help. Maybe it just set like a certain standard which ain't helped the team. Maybe just put a bit of doubt in players. Maybe they're spending big wages on certain players. I don't know, but they're saying going not right there at Everton anymore. And like I said, I don't think they're going to be getting top 7 anytime soon. Getting into the big predictions now, we're going to go for 5th and 6th place on who I thought was going to get Europa League. Starting off with the first Europa League spot, in 6th place I put Chelsea. Now this was due to the transfer ban they had, and it was Frank Lampard's first big team that he was managing. You can't class Derby as a big team. He missed out, he didn't even win the playoffs. But they're currently sitting in 4th place, which I'm quite impressed with. But a lot of people are saying, oh, he's doing well to trust the youth. He had a transfer ban, so he had to trust the youth for one thing. Don't get me wrong, the youth have done well. Abraham, Reece James, Mason Mount, all doing very good jobs here. But he's lucky that you've got the teams below him who should be battling for top 4 are being appalling. It seems like whenever Chelsea lose, you've got Man United and Arsenal who lose as well. And Tottenham and stuff like that. So no one's ever really challenging for him anymore. So that's why they're actually in 4th place, and that's why Leicester are in 3rd, don't get me wrong, because Leicester have performed when everyone else performed poorly. Chelsea are doing the route that they're performing well when everyone else does, but then performing badly when everyone else does. But fair play to Frank Lampard. He's done well to have him in 4th place, and don't get me wrong, if they finish 4th, it's a good season for him. I got another one right. We got 5th place, which I predicted Manchester United. And really, that's a good season considering how they've played. They've not played the best, like I was saying when I said talking about Chelsea. Solskjaer has done a decent job. He's not brought back the old dominant Man United back, but he's starting to pick it up now. Since Bruno Fernandes coming in January as well, they were starting to look really, really impressive. If Pogba does stay next year and wants to play for him, that's as good as a new signing in my opinion. He could be the main man easily. Him and Fernandes be fantastic. They need to stop making Pogba be so negative, in my opinion, for them to get to the top 4. But it's not looking like they're too far off it anymore. There's teams a lot worse than Man United now. But I feel like they probably could just do with a Pochettino in there instead of a Solskjaer. I just don't think Solskjaer is the right man to get them back to the old Man United way. Now, let's get into the top 4 positions. Alright, let's go on to 4th now. And I predicted Arsenal, and they've had an abysmal season, really, haven't they? They're currently sitting in 9th place, which is 5 places underneath where I predicted. And 9th is terrible with a team of Arsenal's calibre, especially with Aubameyang up front. That's all really they've got. They haven't got a good squad anymore, in my opinion. They had the whole problem with Xhaka when he was obviously facing Palace and he got subbed off and he was swearing at the fans and stuff. Didn't help the club at all, did it? So they've changed their captain about 3 times this year. They haven't got a true leader. They need another leader, like when they had Vieira. That's what they're missing. The man to tell them what they want, what they expect from the club of like Arsenal. Emery weren't a strong enough manager. He couldn't get the best out of the boys. Since Arteta's come in, it's basically been a rebuild period now, innit? They're not expecting too much, but they're someone's staring at me. Yeah, it's a rebuild period between Arsenal and like Arsenal with Arteta. Obviously, a club legend they put him down as, and he could take the team quite far, I believe. But he can improve them. This season's just void for Arsenal anyway. Maybe finishing in a non-Europa League spot will improve them. Now they won't have another competition to concentrate on, so it probably could end up for the best for them. But being ninth still is not good enough. Like I said, Arteta, the fans, the team, the board are all going to respect him a lot more than I feel like they did Emery. But who knows with Arsenal fans, they can turn like a flick of a switch. Now on to third place. I predicted Tottenham to finish here, and again it's another team who have been terrible this year really. They're currently sitting in 8th place, which again is 5 places below where I thought they were going to finish. This is like their North London rivals. They've just been bad. They've been bad. Pochettino, I don't believe that he done anything personally wrong. I just don't feel like the players believed in him as much anymore, and I feel like the players got him out of the dressing room to a certain extent, or the board just wanted him out. Maybe he took the club as far as he could take them. It's very hard when they ain't winning trophies, but they done so well the year before. Maybe they just had so much pressure building on them, and maybe Pochettino had so much pressure building on them. Maybe people started to suss him out a little bit. Now they brought in Mourinho, and to be fair, if you want someone to try and win things, he is a serial winner. He's lost it a little bit recently though, and that's the only thing with Tottenham. And it's also a team that he said he'll never manage when he was at Chelsea, and he's gone and done it. But Mourinho does what he wants really. If you want someone to win, he could be a man to win it for you. I think Tottenham at this point just want anything. They want some sort of trophy. They don't care if it is the EFL Cup, the FA Cup, the Premier League, the Champions League, the Europa League. They just want something to celebrate. Their fans have gone too long without celebrating anything, and they have played some impressive football. With Harry Kane, he might go if he don't end up winning something soon. Dele Alli might go. Well, you had players like Kyle Walker and Eriksen all going because they haven't been able to ain't been able to win anything. Lloris might go. They're going to lose their big players if they don't win anything soon. So I feel like they need to win something, and Mourinho could be their man for the job. But then again, another problem with Mourinho, maybe his system is flawed a little bit with with Klopp, Pep, Zidane all bringing in this new system, this more impressive and attacking system compared to Mourinho's defensive system, what used to work, and it's kind of not worked too much, especially when you watched him before this whole pandemic went on, before the season went a little got cancelled. He weren't winning the games or as impressively as he thought he would, but then he hasn't brought in the players he wants to use, and he hasn't got the players he wants. So, and Harry Kane did have that big injury as well, so that was his goals gone. So maybe this is sort of like Arsenal with Arteta. It's a rebuild period now, and next season's when we finally actually have to start judging them. Now looking at the top 2 positions on who I thought was going to be battling out for the top 2 this year. In second place, I did have Liverpool. Now don't get me wrong, I don't care what anyone says, no one thought Liverpool were going to be this dominant, being 25 points clear of second place this season. They have been absolutely brilliant, don't get me wrong. It's ever against Watford. Watford completely deserved that win. Watford played the system well, and they done well, and they should have beat Liverpool, which they did. But other than that, Liverpool been brilliant this year. They've lost 1 game, drew 1 game, 25 points clear. They literally need 1 more point, and then they've mathematically won the Premier League or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's why everyone wants. That's why Liverpool fans obviously want this season to continue. But there's not much else to say about them. They've just been brilliant. I thought they were going to finish second. I didn't think Man City was going to have such a negative year this season, but they have. And if the season does continue, Liverpool deserve to win it, without a doubt. Now we'll move on to who I thought was going to finish top and win the Premier League, which was Manchester City. To be totally honest, the Sky Blues have not done well at all this year. They've lost 7 games this year. 7 games, that is a lot. That's more than their last 2 Premier League winning combined. So Man City, their financial fair play whole problem happened as well, meaning they might not be able to play Europa or Champions League football for the next 3 seasons. I'm not too sure what is going down with that anymore, but it might be a blessing in disguise in some sort of way, because if they can keep the players and keep Pep there when if their financial fair play does mean they won't have any Europe, they have no excuse not to win the Premier League back to back to back, because they'll have 100% concentration on that and the other trophies. So it could be a blessing on them maybe getting that treble, like the 3 in a row of the Premier Leagues. Obviously with Liverpool, Man City, they've just basically swapped them round. I predicted them to be swapped around basically, and Liverpool, like I said, done excellent. Man City, not so much. Alright, so if the season went void, that was my Premier League prediction, and how off and on I actually was. Only getting 2 right so far, but if it does continue, there's still a lot of games to be played. Now, what do you think of my predictions? Do you think the season should be voided or should be played? Or should Liverpool just be given the league? I personally don't think Liverpool should be given the league. I feel like they should have mathematically won it. If they mathematically won it, then there's no excuse for anyone. And for everyone's safety, I don't really know. I feel like voiding it would be best for everyone's safety, because you've got to think about all the managers, the coaches, and all that who have to go in that area and that. I don't know how they'll work around it, but then that's another video for another day. Thank you for watching today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.